Imagine a world where the lines between hero and villain blur, where redemption is a daily struggle, and where even the most broken minds can still find their way back to an unwavering moral compass. This is the stage upon which James Buchanan Barnes, the Winter Soldier, found himself reluctantly entangled with the Thunderbolts, a team led by the very man who once orchestrated so much pain, Baron Zemo. It's a peculiar sight, Bucky Barnes, the former instrument of Hydra, now navigating a team of convicted criminals under the command of Zemo, a master manipulator. But Zemo had a grander scheme, one that involved a fragment of a sentient cosmic cube, a young girl named Kobik, who held the power to reshape reality itself. Zemo, ever the puppet master, saw in Kobik not a child, but a tool, a means to an end, to mold the world, and perhaps even its history, into his own twisted vision of order. For Bucky, his involvement with the Thunderbolts was a tightrope walk. Every mission was a test, every interaction with Zemo a reminder of the darkness he fought so hard to escape. He was there to ensure that others, like him, might find a path to a better future, but he was constantly wary of Zemo's true intentions. And those intentions soon centered on Kobik, on harnessing her innocent yet formidable power. Zemo's plan was insidious, a subtle re-education for those he deemed worthy, or perhaps those he wished to control. He began to subtly influence Kobik, guiding her, whispering his ideals into her consciousness, encouraging her to craft realities that reflected his desires. And one of his most ambitious projects was Bucky himself. Zemo saw Bucky as a man whose past made him pliable, a soldier whose loyalties could be reshaped, not through the harshness of a compliance chair, but through the gentle, deceptive touch of a rewritten history. So, Zemo, through Kobik, began to weave a new tapestry for Bucky, a revised journey through his own past. Bucky found himself reliving the tumultuous days of World War II, a war he remembered with stark, painful clarity. Yet, something felt different. The uniforms were familiar, the faces of his comrades, his best friend Steve Rogers, were as he remembered. But the undercurrents, the subtle shifts in narrative, began to prick at his consciousness. In this fabricated past, Hydra wasn't quite the monstrous entity he remembered. They were presented, subtly, as a force for order, perhaps misguided, but ultimately aiming for a unified, stable world. The atrocities he vividly recalled were downplayed, explained away as necessary evils, or even attributed to other factions. The propaganda, once clearly villainous, now carried a faint, almost reasonable echo. He witnessed moments where Hydra officers were portrayed as honorable, where their scientific advancements were lauded without the horrific moral cost. This wasn't a blatant rewriting of history, but a more insidious psychological reshaping. It was like a film he'd seen 1,000 times, but with cleverly edited scenes, new voiceovers, and carefully curated omissions that altered the entire emotional impact. Bucky, in this altered reality, felt a strange unease. His memories of the real war, of the unmitigated evil of the Red Skull, of the fight for true freedom, were still there, like ghostly impressions beneath this new narrative. He saw Captain America, still fighting valiantly, but even Steve's words, in this revised reality, carried a hint of compromise, a subtle softening towards the idea of a less chaotic, more ordered world, an order that Hydra, in this version, ostensibly promised. It was enough to sow doubt, enough to make Bucky question if perhaps his own memories, scarred by trauma and brainwashing, had painted too harsh a picture. But Bucky had walked through hell and back. He had endured decades of the most brutal conditioning imaginable. His mind, though fractured, had developed an innate resistance, a deeply embedded need for truth and justice. Even as Zemo's insidious design worked its way into his fabricated memories, Bucky felt a persistent, gnawing sensation that something was fundamentally wrong. It wasn't a sudden revelation, but a slow, dawning realization, pieced together from countless small discrepancies. A look in a character's eyes that didn't match his memory, a battle outcome that felt too convenient, a casual remark about Hydra's benevolent intentions that grated against his very soul. The true horror of Hydra, the pain they inflicted, the freedom they crushed, these were not things that could be easily rationalized away. even by a powerful cosmic cube. His moral compass, perhaps dormant during his Winter Soldier days but fiercely reawakened, began to spin. He remembered the innocent lives lost, the sheer unadulterated evil he had witnessed, and, agonizingly, participated in as an unwilling puppet. That visceral understanding of right and wrong, honed in the trenches of war and reforged in the fires of redemption, could not be erased. Bucky's refusal to succumb was not just an act of defiance, it was a profound testament to his inherent goodness. He looked at the subtle changes, the revised narratives, and he rejected them with every fiber of his being. He remembered the fight for freedom, the true sacrifices, the real villains. He remembered why they fought, and that reason was fundamentally opposed to anything Zemo or a revised Hydra represented. This moment, this internal battle against a perfectly crafted illusion, was a pivotal point in Bucky Barnes' journey. It showcased that even after decades of being a brainwashed assassin, the core of James Buchanan Barnes remained intact. His commitment to justice, his understanding of true liberty, and his unwavering moral code were not just learned behaviors, but deeply ingrained principles that could withstand even the most potent psychological manipulation. He knew, with absolute certainty, that Hydra was evil, and no amount of subtle rewriting could change that fundamental truth for him. His time with the Thunderbolts, and particularly this experience with Zemo and Kobik, cemented his path forward. It was a reaffirmation that Bucky Barnes was not defined by the Winter Soldier's dark past, but by his enduring will to fight for what is right, no matter the cost, no matter the illusion. He chose justice, he chose truth, and he chose to remember the pain, because only by remembering did he truly understand what he was fighting for. What a remarkable testament to the human spirit, isn't it? To face a rewritten reality, a perfectly crafted lie designed to break your convictions, and yet emerge with your moral compass not just intact, but stronger than ever. Bucky's story with Zemo and Kobik is a powerful reminder that while our pasts can shape us, they don't have to define us, especially when we cling to that fundamental sense of what is right. What are your thoughts on Bucky's journey? Do you believe his inherent goodness was always there, or was it painstakingly rebuilt? Share your insights in the comments below. If you found this exploration thought-provoking, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more deep dives into the moral complexities of our favorite characters. Your support helps us continue these conversations.